So what's left, we just have to set up the in-ear monitors up to the mixer so I can hear, and that's about it. Ah, there we go, all set up, lovely stuff. Welcome to the drum room of doom, which is essentially my soundproof booth that I've built in my garage in the UK, in Leicestershire. And this is what us Brits would call the doghouse, essentially the place where our wives send us when they've had enough of us. So this is where I'll come and sit, you know, in an evening and blast to my heart's content. This is where the drum kit's set up, it's where the previous videos that you've seen on the channel are recorded, and this is also where I practice for Mithras, which is awesome. So introductions first, I guess. My name's Ben, a live drummer for Mithras, and I also write all the music for Orbeth, a band called Orbeth. I say band, it's my sort of solo project, write all the music for that, guitars, drums, bass, vocals, etc. So if you're into your sort of progressive experimental metal, I guess you could call it, check out Orbeth on Bandcamp. And if you're into your cosmic death metal with just stonking guitar solos, ridiculous drumming as you've heard, go and check out Mithras as well. The vocals are ridiculous, the bass just wow. Yeah, it doesn't really get any better than Mithras if you're into your cosmic death metal. So yeah, check out both bands on Bandcamp. Awesome. That's the plug over. Thank you very much. Yeah, so firstly, thank you to all you absolute legends out there that have liked, subscribed, you know, commented on the videos that I've put out so far. Just absolutely awesome. The positivity coming in has just been ace. It inspires me to make more videos, so, you know, so long as that flow of positivity is coming, I will put out more videos. Just keep it coming. And let's be honest, metal is a beautiful community, isn't it? It's a family feel thing. We're all in it together. Let's keep it metal, and I absolutely love it. You know, I'm humbled to be part of that community. So fantastic. Keep it coming. Cheers, guys. So let's talk about the kit then. That's why you're here. Let's talk about this ridiculous hybrid kit that I've built. So what do I mean by hybrid? Well, it's got a real wash of cymbals up here. We've got real kick drums, triggered kick pedals. We've got an array of electronic pads, mesh-headed pads. We've got an electronic snare. We'll talk about the snare separately in a minute. And we've got an electronic drum module down here that plays all the samples. So I built this kit specifically for Mithras, and Mithras is a band that involves, well, you know, really fast blast beats, really fast double bass drumming for a long time, essentially. So I had to build something that enables me to fulfill that sort of role without killing myself, basically. So this has taken a lot of fine tuning and fettling, but it's pretty much there now, and it enables me to drum at quite a pace for a long period of time. And I can't express how, you know, the level of OCD sort of tuning and farting around with the pedals to get that dialed into my technique, messing around with all the settings. Just, yeah, it's been a bit of a complex ride, I would say, but we're actually there now, and it works pretty flawlessly, I'd have to say. So let's talk about the pads first, because they're the bit that everybody's sort of interested in. Let's start with the snare. So to clear up a misconception, I do actually use a real snare drum live, as you'll see in the photograph that is currently up. So a lot of people think that these pads are sort of easier to play on or whatever because they're more bouncy, and that is just not the case at all, specifically with these anyway. This snare drum is tuned quite a bit more slack than a real snare drum, and I have to say this electronic snare in here wears me out a lot quicker than a real snare drum does. I can blast for harder and longer on a real snare drum, believe it or not. Don't get me wrong, the response that I get off this snare is really cool and it's perfect for in here. I primarily use an electronic snare in here because of my neighbours. They live just the other side of this wall, and although this is a soundproof room, a real snare drum would actually ring out and I'd have complaints from the neighbours. So I use this in here purely because it's neighbour friendly. But what I have to say about these 2-box pads are they are just absolutely brilliant, and once you've sort of tuned them in and dialed them in with the settings and the heads, they work flawlessly. They are brilliant for single strokes, they are brilliant for double strokes, and they just work brilliantly. So what are they? They're 2-box, and these are about 10-inch, I think, these pads, mesh headed pads, and this is sort of like trampoline material, you could describe it as. So in terms of tuning, the tension on the heads doesn't make any difference to the tuning. Obviously, because they're electronic, they've got an electronic trigger in here that picks up the vibration and sends an electronic signal down to the module, and the module is what plays the actual sample. And I'll show you that in a bit. So you tune the actual drums inside the module electronically, which is cool. And the response that you get on these are just awesome. The toms are tuned slightly tighter than the snare, and you just get, well, excellent. Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It really is cool. And obviously the snare's the same, but it's tuned a lot less sort of tight, as it were. So there we go, that's the electronic pads, and yeah, they're just brilliant. They're quite durable, they take an absolute beating. I take them off, chuck them in a bag, go to rehearsal, get them out, and they work. They just work brilliantly. Excellent. The only thing that I've had to replace are the leads, so we use these nitric connectors now for live because they get stood on and whatever else. So yeah, let's carry on with the kit tour. So that's the pads. Let's grab the camera and bring you over to me. Oh, hello. Right then, starting over here, we've got the best ride in the world, literally, for metal. So this is a Sabian AAX metal, 22-inch, and yeah, if you want to ride for metal drumming, that's the one to have. It's awesome. It's pingy, it's got an awesome ring to it, and yeah, it just doesn't get any better than that for blast beats, let's be honest. So if we come over here, just unplug the camera, there we go. We've got the Sabian AX stage hats as well. They've got an awesome ring to them. Nice little Sabian Pro 20-inch ride, and then just a wash of the usual really. So we've got the Sabian B8, little splash, really washy splash that is. That's really cool for blast beats and sort of cutting in with a as you'll hear on some of the videos. Zildjian fast crash, that's awesome for doing bomb blasts under. Another set of Sabians. So in terms of hi-hats, I have the one over here which is I can open and close, and then this one just sort of sits on a stationary sort of setting for blast beats, as you can hear. An array of PSTs, pasty, paste, however you say that. Awesome china over there, 18, I think that is, 18-inch. Little 8-inch splash, AEX Sabians again. Another pasty PST3. I love these PST3s, they're really cool. They've got a really sort of cool little attack on them. They're not super expensive, but I just really like them. We've got an old school Pearl 16-inch crash there that has quite a different sound to the rest of the cymbals, and I really like that cymbal. And up here finally we've got the big old Zildjian, another 18-inch china. I am planning on putting some more cymbals on, but well, we're running out of room really, but I quite fancy one of those. I quite fancy a smaller china actually. I might put that up here somewhere, we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's the cymbal. Right then, let's talk about kick pedals and kick drums, because that's the bit that everybody's interested in. So what have we got? We've got CB drums, kick drums. They're 18 inches deep by 22 inches that away. 22-inch heads on them, and they're really cool drums actually. So the door to this drum room there, I'd actually built the drum booth before I bought the kick pedal, before I bought the kick drums, and luckily the door is only just over 18 inches wide, so it's a bit of a tight squeeze getting the kick drums in, but we get them in eventually. And as you can see, the kick drums are slammed to hell with a load of pillows in a very specific way, so that we can, you know, get the best single strokes, best double strokes out of the heads. So onto the kick pedals then. We have Axis A21 Derek Roddy models, and they're coupled to the Bix triggered beaters, which just work brilliantly. So the trigger is actually built inside the beater head here. They've had some modification to both the head and the cable at my end, just to make them a bit more reliable. I also use piezo's on the heads, so I can switch between either using the Bix or actual triggered drum heads, and they work absolutely flawlessly. It's taken a lot of fettling and fine tuning, like I said. The level of OCD that's gone into these kick pedals to accommodate my drumming style has been quite extensive, and now that they're dialed in, they're really good for single strokes and double strokes, as you can hear. So yeah, I absolutely love that John Longstreth style of playing. Like those, when I first heard him doing those double strokes, I was like, hell yeah, I've got to learn how to do that. So yeah, it's been quite a bit of training, but we're finally there now. So I previously drummed for Mithras, and I used to use Tamar Iron Cobra pedals, and probably maxed out about, I don't know, 250, 260ish, if that, single strokes. But after a long sort of training regime on these Axis, I can probably top out about 260 now on these singles. It's not a competition to me anymore. We just want the music to sound awesome, you know. All that ego stuff is gone now. It's not a competition. But yeah, 260 singles, and I can probably max 300 odd, 320ish maybe double strokes on these. Heel toe technique, so they're really cool. Oh, so while I'm sat here, let's talk about the drum throne. I've got a bit of a fetish for Mapex, so Mapex drum throne there, really cool. Can't leave that out without talking about it. Poor little thing. It's very, very important part of the drum kit, because the way this Mapex supports my legs is perfect for drumming. There we go. And finally, the drum module. So here we have the Ddrum 4SE drum module. This is the thing that basically produces all the electronic sounds that you hear from the snare and the toms. It's got an updated EEPROM chip on it, and in there you've got essentially a vast range of kick drum sounds, tom sounds, snare sounds, cymbal sounds as well. It does cymbals as well, which is really cool. And you can upload your own samples to it via MIDI, which is really cool. If you want your own samples, which is what I use for Mithras, obviously. Yeah, it's pretty bomb-proof. I've had a few little niggles with it so far, but no, it's absolutely fine. And down here you can see the ancient ye old laptop of Chode. And you can see yourself. Yeah, so I record into an old MacBook, whatever, into Reaper, and the signal all comes down from the little desk up there. So here is my mixer and my in-ear monitor little mixer there. Oh, that's better. Put the camera up there. Right, while we're on the subject, it's probably best to talk about the in-ear monitoring. And having been a long-term tinnitus sufferer for, well, 8 years, 9 years now, I cannot express how important in-ear monitoring is. So I use these Senheiser IE100s and some Shure SE215s, I think these are. Yeah, so in the old days we used to have, you know, you'd be on stage and you'd have a 4K friggin' PA wedged sat next to your head, blowing your head off. Just can't do that anymore. Getting old now, you know, the tinnitus is set in and it's not nice at all. So yeah, seriously, get some in-ear monitors if you're playing loud music. Protect your hearing at all costs. And these just sort of sit over the back of your ears, perfect like this, look. And you'll see me live with uber ear protection. I wear these cans over the top as well, and so I have like the song that I'm playing through these, and then the sound of the drums through my big old Senheiser cans up here. The SE2, I think these are SE215s. Yeah, these are wicked, great, really reliable. Updated cable on them. Just get a pair, literally. Don't be having a PA speaker next to your head when you're playing live. It's not worth the ear damage. I've been there, I'm there now with tinnitus, and it will never go away, so protect your ears at all costs. I think that's about it, I think. I suppose we could talk about technique a little bit. Put them on the wrong way around. So a quick little sort of note on technique. I'm very humbled to be blessed with the ability to play ambidextrously, if that makes sense. Is that even a word? I think so. So I can kind of play both offbeat and onbeat, open, closed, leading with my left and or my right hand, basically. So I can lead with either hand. I think that makes sense. So to give you an example, if I do like a 2-footed, generic sort of blast beat. So this is offbeat. And this is onbeat. Oh man, how cool is a bomb blast, man? You just can't beat a bomb blast. Anyway, so yeah, really fortunate to be able to play sort of both ways round, as it were. And finally, before we wrap up this video, quick look at the sticks that I use. I just love these Shakira Cashy Oak Pro Marks. They're wicked. They're 5Bs basically. What would a drum video be without a description of the sticks? Yes, and there we go. Pick them up on the Tinternet. Right then, there we go. Thanks very much for sticking around. I hope that video has given you a bit of an insight into the kit that I use, and see you live very soon. Mithras, we're going to be doing some UK shows, I think 1st July. I think the first headliner is in Swansea, so come along and witness some uber blastery, some ridiculous drumming, some crazy guitar work, and awesome bass playing as well from Vic. Yeah, thanks very much. See you soon. Peace.